Good morning, and thank you for joining us for episode 3 of Copy with Commercial, Effectively Managing Cloud Infrastructure During Crisis. I'm your host, Emma Kettle, Commercial IT Sales Executive for SevOne Tech in Colorado. My co-host this morning is a familiar face from our last episode, SevOne Tech's VP of Commercial Software and Cloud Solutions, Vlad Aleksiev. Hi, Vlad. What's in your cup this morning?
Hey, good morning, Emma. Yeah, I've got my little small espresso shot here, but no, I'm really excited to have our federal team kind of share how their approach on how they help our customers manage their cloud environments, especially during these critical times.
Oh, same here, Vlad. It's great to have you with us this morning, and also joining us from our civilian team today are Jensen and Amanda Sutton, AVP of IT Cloud Services and Deputy Program Manager, respectively. Chris, Amanda, what are you drinking this morning?
Morning, Emma and Vlad. Thanks for having us. I'm drinking my Sanka today. Tough times. Got a deck.
Hi, Emma. Thanks for having us today. I am drinking a wonderful light roast from Black Rifle Coffee Company.
I will say mine's a little lukewarm at this point, but what can you do? Thank you both for being here today. Team, as you know, we initially planned today's talk around our end-to-end cloud management and increased cloud functionality work for one of our government customers, but because of the sensitivity of today's climate and the current pandemic, we've adjusted our content to the how and why our managed application hosting team does the incredible things it does. Amanda will run us through an overview of this fantastic team and their capabilities, and Chris will dig into resiliency and scalability of the cloud. And per usual, we'll wrap up with a Q&A from our audience. Throughout the presentation, please feel free to use the Q&A box on the top right-hand corner. We'll address as many as we can during the presentation, but the majority will be touched on at the end. So with that, Amanda, let's jump into it. Can you tell those in our audience unfamiliar with the managed application hosting team, who y'all are and what you do?
Absolutely, I would love to, Emma. The managed application hosting team provides IT infrastructure and application support to government agencies. Our focus is on infrastructure as a service and platform as a service models. For those who do not know what the difference between those two models are, with infrastructure as a service, the provider, for instance, SevOne Tech, provides and manages the basic infrastructure components such as network, storage, servers, and virtualization. With this model, the application team is responsible for everything else in the stack. Whereas the platform as a service model, with the application team is only responsible for the application and the data. The service provider manages everything else, taking a substantial amount of burden off of the customer. SevOne Tech, we've built and currently manage multiple environments for hosting. They include geographically separated data centers in Virginia and Denver, as well as public cloud offerings in Amazon Web Services and Azure. Our application team currently hosts over 46 enterprise and business applications, providing support to more than 85,000 users. We host applications responsible for a multitude of critical functions, including financial, multi-factor authentication, and human resources. I also want to take a moment to discuss the team that's responsible for the great support that we provide to our application customers. Our team is comprised of experienced engineers, administrators, and project managers responsible for not only day-to-day O&M, but also cloud migrations, replatforming efforts, server commissioning to support new government requirements, and customer relationship management. Our application hosting team is responsible for tier 2 through 4 support. Our team members are subject matter experts across multiple operating systems, technologies, and tools.
Yeah, what a great team, Amanda, and we're so grateful for y'all and all the great work that you guys do. Now that we've covered a good chunk of our capabilities of this team, what are some of the type of environments that we currently host?
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, we offer both on-premise hybrid cloud and cloud hosting environments. We've architected general support systems that include the devices, the servers, the network, and the tools used to manage and host customer applications. These environments are dedicated solely to our federal customers and are covered by JAB-accredited FedRAMP and HHS-accredited ATOs. Our application team also currently resides in our cloud integration centers, also known as the KIC. They're both located at SubOneTech headquarters, locations in Woodbridge and Denver. Our KICs are state-of-the-art, 24/7, 365 support centers used to support both government and commercial customers. And they're also available to view in person for anybody that's interested. All right. Next, I'd like to jump into discussing some of SubOneTech's proprietary processes and products developed in-house to support our government and commercial customers. The cloud is on everyone's radar, and unfortunately, in the application world, not all technology and applications are compatible with cloud platforms. For this reason, SubOneTech has developed a migration readiness assessment, also known as a MRA process, that's used to assess cloud readiness for migration. This process was created back in 2017 when one of our federal customers was interested in leveraging cloud and wanted to migrate a substantial number of applications to the cloud. We created an automated process that turns assessment question responses into scores using weighted criteria, and then we use those final scores to determine readiness for migration. In terms of readiness, we looked at 3 categories: specification, technical, and schedule. Technical and schedule were the categories that we used to identify and rank the final migration candidates. And the criteria for technical included operating system and its compatibility in the specific cloud platform, application software, and licensing compatibility. And then for schedule, it was based around ATO renewal dates, the availability of the application team to assist in a migration, as well as the application owner and leadership overall support of migrating to the cloud.
And Amanda, something I've always loved about this process is that it's vendor agnostic. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely, Emma. So SubOneTech's MRA process is easily tailorable to any customer, any platform. You'll see our process here to the right of the slide. When we do the MRA, we tailor our assessment questions and criteria to each specific customer, and then we use our existing automated process to develop final scoring and documentation. Our assessment is then packaged up, delivered, and presented to all stakeholders. No one solution is right for our customers, and it's important that we use this process to help engineer customer-centric solutions.
Absolutely. And Vlad, I know we've utilized this process with several of our customers transitioning to a cloud or hybrid environment. How is this process different in the commercial world, if at all?
Yeah, just like Amanda said, Emma, the commercial customers, we follow really the same proven practice, but they have very unique environments where they may have, some on-prem data centers. They may even use a co-location data center, and they may even have some, cloud implemented to some degree. But what we do is we look at an entire suite of solutions across different clouds for the storage, for the compute, for even the content delivery networks, to try to really optimize what the right solution is for our commercial customers. So at the end of the day, it ends up looking like a hybrid in some cases, just because that sort of optimizes what their mission is and their business objectives.
Yep, absolutely. And for those of our customers curious about this process, we're currently creating a white paper and we'll ensure to get that out to you soon. Let us know in the Q&A if you're interested. So Amanda, now that we've discussed our cloud hosting capabilities and readiness assessment, would you mind speaking to how we monitor and provide metrics around our customers' operational environments?
Absolutely. Visibility into the status of applications hosted by SubOneTech is of critical importance to our customers. To address this, we've developed an operational intelligence portal that provides customers an interactive one-stop shop for viewing server, network, security, and application status on demand in real time. Our CSTAP portal has multiple views, ensuring that all levels of business and operations have access to data and metrics that are most important to them. These views include an executive dashboard, which provides high-level details and overall status of the application environment, as well as an engineering view that shows granular details on application and server status, utilization and uptime metrics, and patch data. Our CStat tool allows application customers real-time metrics to be used for a multitude of things, including incident resolution, to support documentation needs such as audits and reporting, and financial planning for application and infrastructure strategies. You'll see to the right here on the slide how CStat provides benefit and value. CStat provides FISMA and NIST compliant visibility tools for infrastructure audit and accountability. Application customers are also provided real-time access to metrics on health and utilization of compute resources. Our tool enables awareness, reporting, and proactive response. And lastly, CStat delivers a comprehensive proprietary collection with configurable security checks to ensure proper configuration and compliance across accounts, departments, and agencies.
And Amanda, knowing we've had this tool in place for a while now, how, if at all, have we increased functionality around CStat?
Yeah, so the CStat portal is continuously evolving, and SevOneTech is implementing new functionality frequently. We do have a substantial backlog of features and functionality that we're working on incorporating right now, and that backlog continues to grow. As new ideas come up, we're provided feedback from our customers. Some of our new and planned functionality includes a knowledge base center that includes FAQs and process documentation, self-service options such as password resets and scheduling maintenance windows, and website metrics for public-facing websites. And I also want to mention, for anyone interested, demos of CStat are available both virtually as well as in person in the DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Denver area. All right, I will now hand the presentation over to Chris Jensen, who will discuss engineering, platform resiliency, and scalability.
All right, great. Thank you, Amanda, and thanks again, Vlad, Emma, for having us. We're excited to talk about what we've done over the years to maintain maximum uptime and meet user demands. So yeah, it's really crisis situations like we're going through now that can test these mission critical applications and their ability to support these events and perform well through unpredictable user demand, while maintaining maximum uptime. So the old saying, expect the best, prepare for the worst, applies here. And we always take that approach as it relates to architecting and maintaining our compute platforms. In doing so, we take advantage of technologies to ensure customers are getting the compute resources addressed immediately, and then only paying for those resources that they need and when they need it. This has been a huge departure from the approach we've approached these worst case scenarios in the past. Typically, in the past, you would buy dedicated physical hardware to support applications. And you'd pay for resources that you may never use. So those days are largely over. So over 10 years, SevOneTech has supported hundreds of applications for the government, and many of those within the Department of Health and Human Services. For the COVID response, we have played a key role in supporting the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response. And that's an operating division within HHS, which has really been at the center of the action for the response for COVID. All right.
Yep, I'm with you, Chris. You mentioned our platforms offer near 100% uptime.
Yep.
Why is this crucial to businesses, and what happens if they don't meet that?
Yes, so business continuity is often overlooked when determining application infrastructure requirements. Sometimes you're not thinking about this worst case scenario, and you want to get by with what you think will maintain operations, but not really thinking of those worst case scenarios. So, as little as a few minutes down can really adversely impact the ability to adequately respond to users' needs, especially in situations like this when you're deploying resources. So we work with customers along with our migration readiness assessment that Amanda discussed to perform business impact analysis exercises to determine, what is that impact if you're down for a certain amount of time, and what impact does that have to the business. So using our redundant solutions that we built and our redundant platforms, we help develop that solution that meets those minimum requirements, so that if a situation comes when you need your application up 24/7, that you can be ensured that it's going to be there to support the end user base. This adds tremendous value, and it ensures that the application is performing and always available.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
Yep. So as you can see with the graphic here, SevOne Tech operates managed hosting environments throughout the country, both on the West and East Coast. Each include both government and commercial clients, so we support multiple businesses, while leveraging our cloud integration centers on the East and West Coast as well, and those provide 24/7 operational support. This has been integral to ensuring our 100% SLA uptime compliance record that we have with our customers. That spans over 10 years now, and we're very proud of it, but it's really standard operating procedure for the company. That's how we do things. For our commercial cloud offerings, and this is primarily leveraging AWS and Azure to support our customers, while providing full managed services to maintain the platforms and application environments. That's really where we add our value, is providing those managed services, providing the protection, the monitoring, et cetera, so that the application teams can focus on their applications solely. So these cloud providers maintain regional data centers worldwide, and in the case of AWS, multiple availability zones, which are also known as data centers within each region. We're able to architect solutions which take advantage of these multi-regions and multi-AZ, right, availability zone configurations to balance traffic between sites using load balancing technology. This helps maintain uptime and performance if one site were to fail. And this also works through full automation. We've automated this failover activity, so it's seamless to the customer. We also leverage enterprise level data backup systems to manage offsite data storage to ensure systems hosted and backed up in a primary location maintain backups of those systems in our geographically separated disaster recovery locations. This provides that extra level of security in the event of a disaster, which renders a particular location unable to operate.
Great, Chris. And it's
Hey, Emma,
clear.
I've got a question for Chris, if that's all right.
Oh, absolutely, Vlad. You chime right in, my friend.
Yeah, let me jump in. Hey, Chris, could you talk a little bit about how our customers can automate their deployments because of the automation that we have built into our infrastructure? How they can get their new features and new capabilities out quickly?
Sure, yeah, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but yeah, no, it's a good point. So the cloud offers a wealth of new opportunity to automate. AWS, Azure, they're always coming out with new services and products that help make it easier for the operators to do their jobs. So in the case of AWS, we leverage cloud formation templates. This is really using infrastructure as code to automate that provisioning process. And that just doesn't stop at the provisioning end. That goes on to being able to code out ways of auto-scaling compute resources within those instances that you're bringing up and maintaining. There's also a lot that goes into automating the security aspect of those instances, hardening OS images, patching, et cetera. That's critical to everything that we do, and there's a lot we can do through that infrastructure as code to automate that piece.
Absolutely, Chris. And can you speak a little bit to the tools that SevOne leverages for being able to complete server provisioning tasks in such a short period of time?
Yeah, so that segues into what we've been doing with CloudFormation. We're also looking at other technologies too. Terraform is a big one out there that we can use to complete, automate the process so we can complete those server provisioning tasks in a short period of time. We also have internal checklists that we leverage. So, whatever we can't automate, we have processes in place to ensure that all of our tools are deployed on the servers, they're up to date, that patching's been complete. We leverage CSTAT, the tool that Amanda reviewed, to verify a lot of those steps and maintain that ongoing compliance. So yeah, going back to infrastructure as code, automation, maintaining consistency across all of our servers, that really helps us complete these builds and have them out to the customer in a very short period of time. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, the ability to quickly and seamlessly adjust compute resources to support the unpredictable utilization characteristics of applications supporting missions in these times is critical. So maintaining uptime and the level of performance needed to support the crisis, even when as little as a few minutes of downtime can greatly impact the success of the mission. We want to be on top of this and really understanding what and when customers will need their resources and having the process in place to support that. There's several tools that we can leverage to support scaling of resources. I mentioned, using infrastructure as code, and that allows us to really scale resources in an efficient manner. And this applies not only in the public cloud, AWS, but also in our private cloud that we built within our data centers to support customers. We leverage VMware a lot. There's a tool called vRealize that can help with that scaling of resources, and the AWS Autoscaler, which is again something we can build into our builds. One of the advantages of utilizing infrastructure as code is again having the ability to automate this through the integration of role-based resource allocation. So that's really using the coding aspect. JSON is what we use primarily to identify certain thresholds and then act on those thresholds by increasing or decreasing resources. That means that certain compute resources such as CPU and memory can automatically extend and contract based on the server hitting those thresholds, and that really is extremely valuable in times of highly unpredicted application utilization. So let's see. This also, I mentioned the servers themselves, but this can also be applied to databases. So both AWS DynamoDB and Azure's DocumentDB, those allow you to integrate infrastructure as code to scale up the storage allocation on those to support growth in that area as well. All right, so security, very critical, as I mentioned earlier, to what we do to support our customers. And while the robust IT security controls that we have in place are critical to maintaining data protection, there are also aspects of cyber-related incidents that can negatively contribute to uptime and performance. That typically takes the shape of DDoS attacks or denial of service attacks, distributed denial of service attacks. That's when bad actors are trying to flood the network and servers and other infrastructure with internet traffic, and that can really bring those systems to their knees. So as a part of implementing our security controls, we tie all of those back to federal requirements. And on the commercial side, as well as federal, we look at ISO standards too. So we want to do the best practice across both federal and commercial. And we leverage a number of strategies to ensure our customer systems are protected.
Hey, Chris, speaking of commercial, I believe Vlad has a question for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Chris, I was going to ask you, there's all these great tools for doing automation, especially around, deploying new features, auto-scaling the environment. It just seems like one area that companies may be interested in is how we use automation to really validate that all the different security controls and best practices are implemented. I wonder if you could just talk about that. Right, so number of areas that we use validate. So on the government side,
what we do is we have what's called an authority to operate. So what that means is that we are required as a service provider to have specific security and controls in place to ensure the security of the environment. So we go through a process every 3 years, an audit. We do annual self-audits. We bring in third parties to validate the fact that we've implemented those security controls correctly. We'll run pen tests. We will, and a penetration test is essentially a bad actor trying to get in to disrupt your environment. And that tests how we react to that. So that's one tool that we use. On the slide there, you see Security Center 5. That's another tool we use to scan the environment in an automated fashion. We get reporting alerts that show when there's a vulnerability present and steps to mitigate that. We also use tools like Logarithm to detect real-time events that might be related to security intrusion events. All of that, again, can be automated through alerting, monitoring, reports, and we can react quickly. And in some cases, automatically block certain IP ranges or countries even from getting into our environment.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, great stuff, Chris. And I think that wraps it up for us today. Would love to open it up for some Q&A if any of our audience members have questions for Chris and Amanda. I mean, they're here to answer anything that you guys may not have gotten from the presentation. So we'll leave it for a couple minutes and let some questions flow in. But really, Chris and Amanda, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Such a great team you guys have over there, the managed application hosting team. Obviously, especially in this time, you guys are doing some crucial work. So thank you both so much. Chris, if you have any.
Yeah, no, I would say thank you too. I would like to mention we have a couple minutes. So we work very closely with commercial, and one of the advantages having both a commercial and government mix to the company is, especially when you're working in a cloud system. So the commercial side doesn't always have the same security requirements that the government side has before you can start using certain services and products that these CSPs are offering. And that ties back to FedRAMP. So FedRAMP's a framework along with FISMA that kind of dictates what you need to have in place and what kind of controls and tests you need to run before you're authorized to use a particular product. So work with Vlad and team to test some of these products that haven't been FedRAMP approved yet in the government, but the commercial side is able to use those and leverage them and kind of get their arms around what kind of benefits they're going to bring to the table so that when those products do become FedRAMP approved, we can hit the ground running and be able to support our customers quickly through the experience that that Vlad and team have had with those products. So that's one area that we're working together along with our support structure for our managed service product. But yeah, we're very happy to have that flexibility.
Yeah, thanks for that, Chris. And I know we enjoy working with the civilian team and hope to do so more in the future, specifically with the KIC team. Vlad, do you have anything additional to add?
No, I just wanted to say thanks, to Chris and Amanda. I think it's great having partners like that to kind of, learn from and work together with. So thanks again for joining us this morning, guys.
You bet. Thank you.
Great. And we did get a question from our audience. And it's a great question and very valid during this time. So have you seen a change in demand for cloud services during the pandemic? And I'll pass it off to Chris first and then Vlad to follow up, and Amanda, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, what this has shown is that, as I was mentioning earlier in the discussion, you have to be in a position where you can rapidly scale resources without having to go procure hardware to support it. And that's really the true benefits of the cloud is there's near infinite amount of compute resources that AWS, Azure have put in place to support immediate growth, and having that, knowing that's there and available, and being able to automate the provisioning of those resources to meet on real-time demand is showing really the true benefit and cutting a lot of red tape too, as it relates to getting more applications migrated in a more efficient manner. And part of that too is us providing education to our customers and showing them, getting them to understand what those any security issues that they might have, clearing the air and getting them comfortable with moving to the cloud environment. So yes, and short answer, yes.
Vlad, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I think Chris just nailed it. I think speed for deployment of new capabilities and being able to kind of shift things into the cloud when you've got all your employees now working from home, or a lot of them working remote, that you've got access now to services that you couldn't have stood up this quickly just 5 years ago, and with the security controls now in place, used to, in the past, you'd have to worry about, okay, is the cloud secure? Well, now the cloud is more secure than any other environment that people have in their data center. So I think it goes to show the resiliency and the flexibility of those resources, and just making sure that we can take advantage of that for our customers.
Absolutely. Amanda, do you have any closing comments to add to this question?
No, I think both Vlad and Chris covered it. I do want to mention, definitely, as they both have said, during this time, cloud is definitely in demand. But I think we're seeing across the board, even outside of a time when we're experiencing a pandemic, majority of our customers, while yes, factors are involved when determining an environment to host an application in, whether it be on-premise versus in the cloud. For the most, though, the demand has remained high for the cloud across the board. And most of our customers, that's where they want to go.
Definitely. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Chris and Amanda, your knowledge around these topics are so crucial during this time. So thanks for taking 30 minutes today to give some insight into what you all are doing out on the East Coast. Keep us all safe. Amanda, you mentioned several different things that we can demo for our clients, CSTEP being one of them. We've got Chris and Amanda's contact information on this slide for anyone who wants to reach out to them directly to get those scheduled. And then for our friends out here in Colorado and in the mid-US, feel free to reach out to Vlad. We're happy to set something up. And then in addition to that, there's obviously me. I am always available. So probably even more available than those folks. They're a little busy keeping us safe. So again, thank you everybody for joining us today, especially those who joined us live. We appreciate you. We wouldn't do this if you didn't join us live. Please join us next week for episode 4 of Coffee with Commercial. Stay safe and healthy, and bye for now.